I was like, this is not my life or a life that I want for myself.
Hello and welcome to Did I Do That? It's a podcast about graphic designers and the mistakes that we make on the way to making anything at all, because it's all part of the process. I'm Sean Schumacher, and joining me today, a very special guest, a world-renowned illustrator and cartoonist who, among other accolades, was chosen as one of the Art Director Club's Young Guns in 2010. She's made work for a list of clients ranging from the BBC to Larabar, Cartoon Network, JetBlue, Simon & Schuster, Reader's Digest, the LA Times, and Google, among many others. And you've almost certainly seen her work in the many books she's illustrated and written, including A Pug's Guide to Etiquette, The Feminist Activity Book, and The Warrior's Guide to Life. It's Gemma Correll! Hi!
Hello!
So great to have you on the show. I just sort of scooped you. You're in town for a gallery show at Nucleus Gallery.
Yep.
And yeah, you were kind enough to stop by the studio.
Yeah. Come downtown in the morning with my several coffees that I've already had.
Probably a good move. We were also noting earlier that it's sort of a less than ideal day for this, because it is we're recording this quite early before it goes out, and this is one of the several parades that is part of the Rose Festival happening today. It sort of creates a little bit of a traffic problem, the old parade situation.
Yeah. It was fine though. I came down on the bus. It was all very easy. I love Portland and its public transportation.
Oh, yeah. So I think to start us out, I wanted to kind of follow up on a thing that actually hasn't even been broadcast as the time that we're talking. I got a sort of surprise from my landlord the other day where I was told that because there was some surprise water usage on the bill, they were going to be replacing my toilets. And I think we're both a little bit worriers.
Yeah.
And I have not had the best track record in terms of getting things replaced from this landlord. They, in repairing a water heater, broke the furnace in the middle of winter and then broke the air conditioning after that. So, I was kind of not eager to find out, like, what is the thing that's more important than toilet that I'm about to lose? I really sat and thought about it. I think refrigerator is the thing that comes closest, but it's like not even on the same rung below. Like there's two rungs spacing out toilet and refrigerator.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it was a worrying situation all day long last Tuesday. And there is some good news. I came home. Toilet has been replaced.
Yay.
Not without a little caveat. Because, new toilet works great. Beautiful. I think what maybe I hadn't thought about, and it seems like also my landlord didn't think about, is when you replace toilet, you have this new problem, which is, here's old toilet. Where does old toilet go? Because there's not like I think if you roll up to a Goodwill and you like unload a toilet, they're going to have some words for you. They're going to go like, I don't think we can. Yeah. Is it used? Because I think that's going to be a deal breaker for us at the old Goodwill, unlike almost everything else we sell. So I wasn't very pleased when I got home to see what their solution was, which is outside toilet. So now I'm one of those people that you see every once in a while that has a toilet on their front lawn.
One of those.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not. I have been wondering, like, is this the universe kind of slapping back at me for my current vibe, like being like, okay, you seem to me like the kind of person that would have a toilet on their lawn. But yeah, it has a sign on it that says free (works). Which is...
Well, you want to specify.
Yeah, it's scribbled in pen, which I feel like really doesn't convey that it works well. It conveys a certain amount of desperation about the problem.
And if it works so well, why are you giving it away for free?
Yeah, that I think is the other concern that I have. Like, I know you live in Orange County right now. It does not feel like the kind of place where the free box culture is really a thing.
It's not, and I really miss it from when I used to live in the Bay Area. There's so many free boxes, and now nothing.
No.
Except for lemons, lots of lemons.
Hey, not bad.
No.
I mean, it's better than, DVD box sets of the OC,
True.
which I imagine is the other thing that would be in an Orange County free box.
Well, I've never seen any. I don't know how people in Orange County feel about the OC. I've never really asked.
Probably about the same as we feel about Portlandia, which is quite upset when you really get down to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, England, where I'm from, has lots of examples of that.
Oh my, yes. But yeah, so I think the problem with the free boxes, I feel like, is that you kind of, after a certain amount of time, lose trust in certain products.
Mm.
And I think it's often correlated to how heavy product is. Toilet about as heavy as it gets.
Yeah.
It's also just fundamentally like, not a great sign of trust to be like, well, toilet's here. Why isn't toilet inside if toilet works?
Right.
I'm like, also, seems like you could have just taken new toilet back and then money in your pocket right there.
Right. Very suspicious.
Yeah. The other thing, and I was raising this as a concern to a friend where I was like, well, maybe in some scenario, there's somebody that would find this toilet and be like, yeah, actually, this does solve my problem. Free toilet. The problem is this is a duplex. And so 2 toilets were replaced. And now these toilets flank my driveway like the lions at the New York Public Library. I did look up what the name of the lions are. And I think maybe this is a good name for also these toilets, because I think it is a set of names that I think carries over quite well. The New York Public Library lions are named Patience and Fortitude.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know they had names.
Yeah, apparently Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia during the Great Depression named them Patience and Fortitude after the qualities that he felt New Yorkers needed to get through it, and also needed to get through his similarly named airport. But yeah, certainly, those are names that could be toilet names as well. So
Sure, if you wanted to name your toilet, which is a normal thing to do.
That's the thing, is I think I maybe have to embrace them a little bit, because I don't think they're going away anytime soon. I suspect this is going to be a permanent fixture of the remainder of my time living in this apartment. These are just my toilet sculptures now.
Maybe you could make them into planters.
That's an idea. I mean, that would really be embracing it in a
Seems like
in a positive
Portland
way.
kind of thing to do.
Absolutely. I mean, if we're trying to keep Portland weird, maybe slap one of those stickers on the tank, and then, big petunia or something comes out of the bowl. Yeah,
seems exactly like someone who is self-proclaimed weirdo would do, is make a toilet planter.
It does feel of a very specific character of Portland that I think would be well represented on Portlandia. And I think that is also wrinkling my brain a little bit of, do I really want to be a Fred Armisen character? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that that's where I want to be in my life. I feel like that's maybe now the vibe attacking me in a way that it was only threatening me in placing the toilets there. But Gemma, you didn't come here to talk about my outside toilet.
I didn't? Oh.
I mean, if you did, it would be an incredible coincidence.
It would, yeah.
You came here to talk about sort of your path into illustration specifically, which, kind of went through a lot of different phases. I was reading, one of the things that you had talked about was illustration is something that you really were into even as a kid.
Yeah.
You were making all kinds of things and reading a lot of comics too.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I was reading my brother's comics mostly because comics were for boys, I thought. Well, there was a girl's comic called Bunty, which is the most British sounding name ever. And it was all very jolly hockey sticks and horses kind of thing. Just I was like, this is not my life or a life that I want for myself.
Just sort of pastoral nonsense.
Yeah, just countryside jaunts. And I was just in town centre. This is,
What if we made Last of the Summer Wine into a comic
right,
strip?
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone wants that.
So my brother got the Beano, which is a fun comic for boys, and it's raucous and they're naughty. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is more what I'm into.
Am I remembering right that Beano is one of those comics that went through a weird kind of 90s reset and got a little bit more weird, attitude to it at a certain
and
point.
I think it still is. I haven't read it for a while, but it's still going, and I think they've got a lot more edgy.
Beano has, sort of a man influencer type podcast.
Yeah. Dennis the Menace is like a influencer these days. I don't know.
Yeah, I that's such a funny trend, and it's always strange the things that stick around from that. But that's what you were reading a lot of.
Yep.
And was that kind of inspiring some of your own early comics work?
Yeah. I mean, I basically ripped off. There was a character in the Beano there was one female character. I'm blanking on the name right now, but my character that I ripped off Minnie the Minx.
Oh.
My character was called Naughty Natty. And
You're just going over a letter.
I basically just completely ripped her off and started making my own comic at elementary school, which I then forced my friends to buy. And I was making it for free. They'd let me use the photocopier in the office, and so I didn't have to pay anything to make it. And I was like, no, that's 20p, please. But I did buy penny sweets, like little candies, to sellotape on the front, because that's what they did with the Beano. You'd usually get like a free candy. So
interesting.
I'm going to make it authentic. And
so it's not just all margin.
I was expending
on this comic.
some of my own. Yeah, there was a whole economic process happening.
Well, I would love to read the comic, but I'm really here for the penny candy. That's
right.
Yeah,
I think most people were.
I love paying a 20 times markup on this penny candy.
Yeah.
So and it's also so funny because one of my my first published in 20 layers of air quotes work was I made a ripoff of Garfield that was posted onto America Online back in the day. Yeah. And I did that for 2 years, something like that. But it was really, I think it's like weirdly kind of a phase that you have to go through of like, oh, here's this thing, and I think I need to understand how this works by recreating it. Yeah. Of course, with any kind of art, I think you have to start by copying. Yeah, copying the masters like Jim Davis and whoever makes Beano. Truly, those are the people who are in, the Illustrators Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Actually, they might be.
Oh, I'm sure Jim
Who am I to
Davis
cast
is.
aspersions? Yeah. Jim Davis seems like he's doing quite okay.
I think he's doing all right.
Unless he's dead by the time this goes out. Never mind. But yeah, that's an interesting place to be, actually making stuff for school. I was also reading too, from the ages of 10 to 16, you had a illustrated monthly children's column in your parents' church magazine.
I did, yes. It was called Kids Corner with a K for kids, a K for corner.
Of course.
And a Z, a Z.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's got a little attitude, too.
It was as edgy as it gets for a church newsletter. So that was my, monthly column. There were puzzles and colouring pages. I always tried to... It became less and less... religious base as it went on, and I started to be like, maybe I could do something other than a coloring page of the Last Supper. I don't see that being kind of the most exciting thing to most kids. No, well there were characters. There was Bible Bill and his sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was kind of the narrator of whatever was going on in the page that month. And his sister may have been called Natty again. She may have just been another Naughty Natty, but
you'd already gotten the trademark registration.
Yeah. It's like I had a whole book of baby names that I would buy these at the discount bookstore. They had these Bibles of baby names because I was always writing stories and I needed names. So they must there was this little 10-year-old girl going into these stores buying the baby name books. They must be wow, this is just really starting young.
Yeah, may have raised some eyebrows, I think, out of those shopkeepers. But that is so interesting because that's a lot more complex than I would imagine, too, for a church newsletter column. Mm-hmm. So it's a mixture of text and other things in it?
Yeah, I would, because I was so into magazines.
Yeah.
I kind of tried to combine all the different things you would get. So a puzzle and a little story. And then sometimes I would do competitions. And then I would, with my proceeds from my comic, which was called The Chatterbox.
Of course.
I would buy prizes. But then I would have to force people to enter. I'd force my friends to enter them. I'd be like, look, you're going to win because no one else has entered. So you're going to win this packet of Smarties. Please enter.
As a teacher, I can feel some correlation between that and trying to get people to apply for scholarships. Please, no one's done it. You will win this money.
Right.
If you just, I know the application's really irritating, but you got to power through and then you get the money. Don't you see?
I used to, so my school, well, all schools in England used to have like a bank that would come in to get you really early. When we were like 10 or 11, they would come and help you set up a bank account with like £1. And then they also ran competitions where they would say like, make an Easter card for the bank or something. And whoever wins will get £10 in their bank account.
Oh.
And nobody would enter apart from me. So I would just keep winning. And then I was like, okay, so I'm going to start doing this for my friends as well. So I would make my friends' entries like not quite as good.
Oh,
so that I would win first prize and get £10, and then they would be runner-up and get £5.
You're kind of rigging the system a little bit.
Well, no one else wanted to enter, so I was like, I may as well help my friends out at the same time.
Well, I guess that also has the effect of like making it seem to the bank like this is a thing worth continuing.
Right.
That it's not just the same person as the only person who's entering every single year.
Yeah, it just looks suspiciously similar.
But these are drawn with your left hand, so
right,
of course, yeah. Now it's totally different. But so, like, at what point does it start to feel like maybe there is a certain allure to trying to do this professionally? I mean, I know that's not the route that you go on initially, but like, was that something that was kind of percolating in your teenage years?
I really liked making illustrations, and I did it all the time. I had these sketchbooks that I had with me all the time, like little diaries, and I would draw in them every day. And I also set up like a t-shirt making business with a friend.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, again, not profitable at all. And again, not forcing people to buy t-shirts and then them not paying us back. But yeah, it was something that I really loved, but I didn't really think that I could do as a job. And through being a teenager, I was like, I'm going to probably be a teacher. I'll do something sensible. And I was just doing art on the side.
Yeah.
And when I applied to college, I applied to do English. I mean, not the most sensible subject to get a job out of, but it felt more than art.
You were also going for a teaching certificate too, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And like your whole family growing up were folks in more traditional jobs as well. Like, so it would also make sense that there's not really a thing that you're able to correlate to other than that.
Yeah. Most of my family are either in teaching or in healthcare and very like practical jobs. And I think they were just worried. They didn't think that art was really a viable. We had a very like regular middle class family.
Yeah.
Like art seemed too out there for them, I think.
It makes a lot of sense. So you're enrolling in college for university properly.
Yes.
You're enrolling in university for English with the goal of going into sort of teaching. At what point does that start to feel like it's not the move?
Very quickly. But it was coupled with kind of a mental health crisis, which is really what precipitated my leaving college. It wasn't really anything to do with the subject. I'd always had in the back of my mind, like, this is just the sensible option. And I told everybody when I left that I decided that I wanted to do art, but actually it was more of I'm getting agoraphobic and having panic attacks and I need to leave and go home right now.
Oh, wow.
Within a couple of weeks of being there.
Yeah.
And I think in a way it was my body saying like, you were in the wrong place and you kind of know it. But that hadn't quite made its way to my brain at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, though, because it's when that feeling happens, your system will just set off alarm bells.
Yes.
And it takes a while to undo the programming that you're like, but I have to do this, don't you see?
Yeah. And I felt very, very guilty about it for a long time. And even though I ended up then going to art school because some of my friends were there and I was like, okay, I haven't got anything better to do. I still, the whole way through art school, I was like, I'm going to be a teacher at the end of this. I'm going to have a proper job.
Well, I mean, that was still a possibility, of course,
Yeah.
even in art. But like, so you end up at Norwich School of Art and Design in Norfolk, and you're kind of doing like a illustration specialization within graphic design.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, how did you find your way to that? Was that just where your friends were as well? Or?
Well, so the way it was set up is the first year, it was a graphic design course, but then the first year you would do illustration, animation, photography, graphic design, and publishing. And in the second year, we had to choose. I was between illustration and animation because they were the ones that I really loved the most. And I couldn't see myself becoming a graphic designer. And like I said, I wasn't even sure that I could be any kind of designer or artist. And illustration was just the thing I loved the most, so I went for that.
I mean, that it worked out. I
Right,
think it was
it
a good pivot. Yeah. Do you remember any of those projects that you were doing in school? Like,
well, we'd get briefs, we'd get weekly briefs that we had to work to, and I felt like I was very stuck in the high school mindset of like painting is what you should be doing. This is real art.
Oh, sure.
So I was trying to paint, which I am not that great at, and my professor at college was like looking at my sketchbooks, which I was still keeping, every day. And he was kind of like, well, this is so much better than your painting. This is what you should be doing. And I was like, no, this isn't. This is just doodles. This is nothing.
Wow.
And eventually he managed to convince me that is actually what I should be doing. And still I have in the back of my mind, like, it's just doodles, it's just drawing, it's not real art.
You're a lot more successful than any painter I know, so I don't know. But that is fascinating though, that you, even once you got on this track, you were still kind of fighting with like, there's a thing within this that I'm supposed to be doing that you have to be navigated towards, essentially.
Yeah, drawing just felt too easy.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I'd always done. It's just like, what do you mean this like doodle of a cat is like art? This is just this is just my Garfield ripoff.
Yeah, you've been posting it to America Online.
Yeah, right. On my Angel Fire blog.
Yeah, with the username Mr. Mac 630. It's a wonder why I didn't have more friends as a child. Anyway, but yeah, that's like kind of a fascinating thing to think about, that you're essentially getting steered towards the right track again. Are you during this entire time still doing screen printing and stuff like that? Like, because I was reading, like, you really didn't feel like this was going to be a very viable route until you started getting commissions, until people started buying the merch that you were making, essentially.
Yeah. So we were lucky that we were able to use any of the facilities in the art school. And I started using the screen printing facilities and making my own merch. I was very influenced by, there are artists like Tom Gould, the cartoonist, and there was a magazine called Le Gun, which came out of London around that time. Donna Wilson, a lot of artists who were making merchandise. And it was kind of when Etsy was kind of starting to become a big thing, and craft fairs were getting really popular. There was the Bust magazine Craftacular,
yes,
which they had in London. And then I also started with my friends setting up smaller craft fairs in Norwich. And it was just a really good time for kind of crafts and making your own zines, things like that. So yeah, I started actually selling stuff, which was a surprise to me. I met my now husband, then boyfriend, after I left college, and he was on the printmaking course, so I was able to continue using the printmaking facilities for a while. So that really helped me out. And then, just going and photocopying zines as well in the library. And then I was also getting commissions for illustration pretty much immediately after I left college, which again was a surprise. But I was like, all right, I guess I'll do this for a bit and then I'll go and do my teaching thing.
Oh, interesting. So teaching was still the plan.
Yeah, well, I actually did get a job as a teaching assistant. So that was pretty much full time for a couple of years.
That's pretty wild. You graduate, you do the like kind of teaching assistantship thing. What sort of class was that for?
So that was for elementary school age kids. I was a special education teaching assistant. So I actually just worked one-on-one with one child.
Oh, sure.
I worked for 2 years with two different children who were both autistic, one-on-one, and then I also kind of helped out in the classroom as well, because you want to be integrated. You can't just be like, no, I'm not going to help you.
Yeah.
I'm just right here. And I really loved that job, and I only left because I had to, because my child graduated into middle school, and it was kind of well timed, because I was at the point where I was getting illustration work, and I was like maybe close enough to being able to make a living out of it. And I needed that push, and the push came from having to leave my teaching job.
That's an interesting thing to think about. Like, now it is illustration that's actually pulling, and not just, kind of being the thing that you're being pushed towards. You had some other jobs also, I think probably maybe a little earlier than this. Your first job in kind of like illustration was doing brochure and vacation package illustration for Virgin Holidays, I read.
That was the first job that I got out of college. It was after our graduation show. I think that somebody from the Virgin design department came to the show and saw my work and contacted me like the week after, and I was just like, okay. Really?
I mean, it's not the most perfect brand match that I can think of.
Yeah.
Especially Virgin at that time, which is very much like the Axe body spray vibe.
Yeah. But it was actually a really fun job. It was all just kind of line drawings of just little vignettes from different places you could go with Virgin Atlantic.
Did you have a favorite that you did?
I think there was maybe Hawaii or like a tropical Polynesian one, which I was really into.
God, that'd be pretty nice, actually. I could do with one of those. Absolutely. I mean, I assume they didn't pay you in trade, giving you...
Unfortunately not, no.
That would be so nice. Yeah. That's really the only good way to get paid in trade is vacation.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. It's not happened for me yet.
No.
But one day.
It would be pretty sweet. You also worked selling clothing for Topshop for a while, too,
yes.
Which maybe was not the most pleasant job, it sounds like.
It was not the best. I worked there while I was at college, and then a little bit afterwards before I got the teaching job. It's just very customer forward job, and I was not very good at that. I actually worked for a concession within Topshop, which was just one rack of clothes, basically. So there's only so much you can do.
It's hard to imagine why Topshop went out of business, knowing that they have like specialists in different racks of clothes.
Yeah, and then they would try and get me to work with the Topshop stuff, and I'd be like, no, I have to stay in my spot. And there's one rack which nobody wants to look at because the clothes is awful. I spent a lot of time in the stock room counting stock. Like, yep, there's still 20 disgusting t-shirts.
Not moving any merchandise today. Ooh, my job is easy. Yeah, wow. That's pretty grim. That's not a fun one. No,
I mean, I worked in retail all through college, and it varied. And I also worked for Top Man on the shoe department, which again was, shoes are pretty gross.
Yeah. And especially like fast fashion shoes, not exactly built to last.
It was the era of the winkle picker.
What is that?
The like really long kind of leather dress shoe, but with like a really pointy.
Oh, sure.
Tip. Yeah.
I've never heard them called winkle pickers before. That's great.
Yeah. I guess because like a winkle is like a little clam, and you would, I don't know, potentially poke it with your shoe to pick it up.
As we all do all the time. Yeah. I mean, there's a clam right there. I'll just, you know what? These shoes aren't pointy enough. It's amazing. That is a good explanation. I feel like my mind immediately went to something rude, but that's just the kind of shoes that they are. Don't laugh, everybody. Just like that town in Germany that I think is called Fuck or something, and people keep stealing the sign. Stop stealing the sign, everyone. But yeah, that's not a good place to be. So you're actually now, like 2009, full-time illustrator. Mm-hmm. You're working with illustration. Yep. You're able to get representation too, which is a pretty hard thing to get. Yeah. I was lucky, I think, that maybe there was just a little gap in the market, a little space for me at that time. It was really helpful because I am not a business, despite all my shenanigans with the comics when I was at school and the t-shirt design. I'm not a very business-minded person, which probably explains why we didn't sell many t-shirts. So having someone to help with all that stuff was really invaluable. And I still made some mistakes before I got to that point, before I had the representation. I
did jobs where I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know about copyright or contracts or anything. And I
Oh, no.
Yeah, did some silly things like allow a publisher to have full copyright of my work. And
don't do that, everybody.
Yeah, don't do that.
No. Oh, yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
My dad does voiceovers, and I believe, not to, name the client or anything, I learned that lesson early because he did a buyout similarly to that on a commercial that I believe he recorded 25 years ago, and his voiceover is still being used for
really?
25 years later. Yeah. But yeah, that's the danger. Yeah. So yeah, but like contracts, a very important lesson to learn. And, how is it that you are able to meet with the Anna Goodson people? Like, is it just that you sort of crossed paths at the right time, or?
I think so. Yeah, I was looking to get an agent, and I just kind of looked through the options, and I found Anna, and I liked that they were a female-run agency. They were in Canada, which seemed good, kind of not UK, not US, just in the middle there.
Yeah.
And I just emailed them and I chatted to them, and they seemed like lovely people, which they are.
So just cold emailing.
Just cold emailing.
I mean,
yep. I did a lot of that.
That's incredible, though.
Yeah.
Like,
luckily, it was the time of email, because if it had been calling, I would not have got any jobs ever, because I can't do phone calls.
Well, at that time too, the long distance charges would be pretty brutal for everybody. But that's wild. So you're able to facilitate this connection, like get your work out there, and like that in turn sets up essentially everything that's come after too. Yep. So you've talked about like how important like getting awards and stuff has been, including the early days with that bank contest. But in 2010, you win the ADC Young Guns. Yeah. Which, that's about as prestigious as it gets, Yeah.
I mean, whenever I've entered for awards, it's been for a reason. Like when I wanted to get a visa for the US.
Sure.
You need to have awards on your application. So I've never really entered awards just because I thought that I could get an award. I'm always still very surprised if I win something. But I've always been into entering competitions, since even like non-drawing based stuff. When I was a kid, I would just enter any kind of mailing competition. There was one that our local newspaper would put on where you would send your top 10 albums, and then if you were printed, you would get a free CD.
Oh, wow.
This was still CD days. And again, I guess no one was entering because I won that several times. And I told all my friends to enter. So all my friends won several times as well.
And whoever had to lay out that newspaper and needed some extra column inches also wins.
Yeah. And I would change it every time. Be like, okay, this month Blair, this month Oasis.
Did you change up your name as well? Like,
no.
So these are not different characters. No. These are just you're updating your musical taste.
Yeah, I left it a few months between entries, so it wasn't too obvious.
Probably everyone at the newspaper has forgotten.
Yeah, they've got more
important
things to think about.
Probably. Yeah. Who knows, though? I mean, they're still running this contest, so,
Right.
I assume they're still actually running this contest and still mailing people CDs.
I hope so.
I don't know what to do with this. I don't have a device that plays these now. It's just a blank CDR now. Who's going to be able to check? But I mean, that's also huge. And I think it also speaks to, a step that is going to come a little later, you moving to the U.S. Mm-hmm. But before that, you are also like getting into books. Yep. 2012, you're publishing your first books. Mm-hmm. Do you want to kind of talk about like what led up to that?
Back then, there was a website which still exists, but no one uses anymore, called Flickr.
Oh, yes. a really important website to that design scene.
It was great. It had groups, so you could like put your work in a group and see other people. You could actually see other people's work that you followed. Unlike social media now, where it's like just adverts and stuff you don't want to look at. An
incredible feature that I wish someone would build a new version of.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that the people you follow, you actually see their work.
What a wild notion. I don't want to see these people. That's why I followed them.
Yeah. So a lot of people I met, like Kate Bing and Bert, I met on Flickr, and all these amazing artists and designers. And I was uploading personal work on there as well, because for a while I was only uploading client work, but I was still doing my own kind of stuff, my own sketchbook work. And I was like, well, since my friends or my online friends are here, I may as well start uploading like my little diaries that I make and little sketches about my obsession with dogs. As part of my diaries, I would draw my outfits, which is kind of funny because I basically just wear the same thing every day, like a stripy shirt. I was like, oh, it's another stripy shirt
It's
day.
good to have a uniform.
Yeah.
It takes some of the pressure
Yeah.
off. That's what I'm slowly working my way back towards.
It's a lot easier to get dressed in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was uploading my outfits, and then I was like, oh, I'll make a group on Flickr and other people can do the same thing. Because it was a time of like a lot of street photography of outfits. I was like, well, I don't really want to put my photo anywhere, but I don't mind drawing myself. And I feel like other artists probably feel the same.
Yeah.
So I made this group and other people started uploading their outfits. And then a publisher approached me and said, oh, we could make a book of this, like a kind of journal, so people can fill in their own daily outfits as well. And that's how What I Wore Today came about.
Wow. So that's pretty organic too.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
just evolving out of that group.
That's what's happened kind of with most of the books that I've done. The Cat's Life as well was the same. It was just a collection of comics that I'd already drawn. And yeah. It's the way I like doing things because it's a lot less pressure. It's just drawing things without any kind of goal in mind. And then if it happens to come together as a book or a collection of some kind, then that's great.
Yeah. So, you get 2 books out the door in 2012, The Pug's Guide to Etiquette 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 2015, you've got even more books, the Feminist Activity books, The Warrior's Guide to Life.
Yep.
I was trying to do that in the intro and I kept saying Warrior's Guide to Life.
Oh, well, that's the pun.
Yeah. One of those books I'm not qualified to read. But Worf from Star Trek, very much qualified to read, even though he is a warrior. But 2015 is also the year that you moved to the U.S. Like, what is that decision like? Had that been sort of in the works for a while leading up to that?
Yeah. My partner and I had visited the US kind of yearly since we met. We both really loved coming to the West Coast, particularly. We'd come up to Portland.
Oh, sure.
As you know, we'd been to California and Vegas, and we would kind of save up all year so we could come. We would always fly to Vegas because it was like a lot cheaper than everywhere else, and then drive.
Yes. They'll get that extra money out of you somehow.
Yeah. So we would arrive in Vegas at like 1 a.m. and then everything would be open. So like we're jet lagged, but it's fine. We can have breakfast at 3 a.m.
That's true. Yeah.
So it was great. And we would get those little like booklets that you get in the hotels with the coupons. For the cheap hotels.
When I went home last December, I stayed in the Four Queens in beautiful downtown Las Vegas. And I, for the first time in ages, got one of those little coupon books. And I didn't know that they still existed, but they're so delightful and they're also very weird.
Yes. Yeah, I can't believe they still have those.
It's truly, I mean, I'm sure that these are like now like 20-year-old files that are just having more and more stuff glommed onto them. But like the aesthetic is so absolutely chaotic. It's amazing. Like it feels like somebody just, kind of like barfed up a 2005 like conspiracy theory webpage all over a piece of paper. Did you end up using any of the coupons?
Oh yeah. We used them because we didn't have access to the internet because this was before, well, it wasn't before smartphones, but it was before you could connect with an international phone.
Oh, yeah. That would have been a really hard thing around that time. Yeah.
So we were pretty much cut off from technology unless we could get Wi-Fi. So the coupons saved our lives many a time from having to sleep in the car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you're off to LA and you're off to Portland.
Yeah.
So you're kind of percolating around there. Like, is there a thought during one of these trips that like, yeah, this is actually where I want to be. This is maybe the climate that feels a little bit more right.
Yeah. We kind of felt like that everywhere we went. We felt like that. Here in Portland, we were like, yeah, we could live here. And then we got to California, we were like, yeah, we could live here.
It's like Portland, but with sun and less rain.
Yeah. That's the only thing I think that steered us away from Portland was like, we want to get away from the rain in England. So
yeah, East Anglia, kind of rainy.
Yes.
Pretty famously.
Yes. But yeah, so we landed up in the Bay Area, which was kind of seemed like a good in-between.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'd been to San Francisco. That's where I first saw a pug. For the first time.
Wait, you'd never seen a pug until you went to San Francisco?
Nope, I'd never seen one that I recall in England. They weren't really popular when I was growing up.
Had you been drawing them before that, or that really was the nexus point?
I started drawing them after I saw them in San Francisco. I got obsessed with them immediately. We were in a park and there was a pug meetup happening. So I heard one come snorting towards me. I was like, what is that? What is that beautiful creature? And then there was another one, and there was snorting coming from all angles.
What an overwhelming introduction to pugs. No wonder it made an impression.
Yeah, I was like, I have to have one. I have to live here, and I have to have one of these dogs.
It's like if you'd never seen an octopus before and somebody dumped 20 of them on you. That's incredible. So, I mean, yeah, no wonder it ends up being San Francisco.
Yeah. It was kind of a confluence of every great thing. I discovered burritos and good coffee and pugs.
Oh, my God. Yeah, talk about the perfect environment. Yeah. How long do you end up staying in San Francisco, in the Bay?
So we lived in Oakland, and we lived there until we left just before the pandemic.
Probably
happened.
Good timing, yeah.
We got to Southern California, and immediately everything shut down.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was February. We just got there. I was due to go to Hong Kong to do a job.
Oh, no.
And
like travel already booked and everything?
Everything was ready to go. It was like the next week I was going to do a mural for a ramen chain.
Oh.
I was so excited. And then everything shut down.
Yeah, that's bad timing.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to do that?
It never happened, no. So I still haven't been to Hong Kong.
Well, that's a big shame.
Yeah.
Seems pretty cool. Long flight, though, I would imagine, even from LA.
Yes, and over a lot of water, which is not my favorite thing.
No, it's a bad time. That's boat territory for sure. Not where you want.
It's just immediately you take off, you're over the ocean, and then you're over the ocean for 12 hours.
Let's look out the window and see how far we've gotten. Okay, there's some waves down there. Same as before, same as 6 hours ago. Not loving that. Waves look worse, if anything, than they did then. Yeah, I've only really crossed water once in my flights, and I didn't enjoy it. I went to Europe 2 years ago, I think, and yeah, that Portland to London flight. Wow, that's long.
It's a long flight.
There's a lot of unpleasant looking seas down below you when you get to that point.
Yeah, and when you're flying over like Greenland and Iceland, and it's just white.
Yeah.
They used to carry guns on planes because if they had to land in Greenland unexpectedly, they would have to shoot polar bears.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Right. As far as I know, no polar bears got shot. I hope not.
I mean, if they did, the Coca-Cola Christmas ads are going to look really grim this year. Oh, where they're all at the funeral with Coca-Cola. They bury a can of Coca-Cola with the polar bear in the coffin. It's sad, but it's a lovely tribute to them, and they just shouldn't have attacked that plane that was going to vacation in Greece. Anyway, but yeah, so I mean, that's kind of inopportune timing for you to be landing in LA, and kind of specifically in Orange County.
Yes.
The OC, as I'm sure they love to be called all the time. Yeah. Just as it makes me feel so good to hear Vegas Baby, maybe the most unpleasant thing about Las Vegas that I've ever heard in my life. It shouldn't bother me so much, but it really does.
And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Fun fact, that slogan in particular irritated me so much that I essentially made my thesis work about trying to remember things that had been forgotten about Las Vegas. Imagine investing a year of your life in trying to, basically unpack a advertising slogan. No good, very bad. But one thing that I did want to kind of circle back on is like one of the things that you've said, like one of your general biggest mistakes, and this is another one that I really can identify with, is your kind of reluctance to say no to things, the overwhelm that comes with that.
Yeah.
That is, I think, a struggle that is hard to overcome. I guess, how have you negotiated that?
Well, I have only been able to negotiate it through being so busy that I've had absolutely no choice but to say no to things. I still really struggle doing it because I feel like every single job that I get is potentially my last ever job that I'll ever get. And if I say no to something, then that clients will no longer want to work with me ever again. And somehow it'll get around to all the other clients that I said no once to a job and they'll never want to work with me ever again. But I was just getting to the point where I was taking on way too much work. I had no time for anything else, and it was making me ill, really, with stress. And, it's only taken me like 20 years to figure that out. I just said no to a job the other day that would have been a really great job and it sounded really fun, but it was like a advertising job that they wanted the artwork in like 2 weeks.
Oh.
And I'm already working on like 2 books and a graphic novel. So
yeah, that's going to take some time.
Yeah. Like I should really only be doing one of those things at one time, but I'm also very bad at planning. So they'll say, how long is it going to take you to do this book? And I'm like, I don't know, as long as it takes.
It'll take me between 1 minute and forever.
Yeah.
And, it's a roll of the dice to find out how long. But I get that too. It's that thing of not wanting to disappoint and feeling like, there is this cosmic retribution, even if it's like, social or something larger that like gets you if you say no to something.
Well, it's because being an artist or an illustrator or a designer is such an amazing job that I just feel so lucky to have it that I feel like it's like a kind of imposter syndrome thing where I feel like I don't deserve to say no, because it's like you could be doing some terrible job that you hate.
You could still be working in Topshop managing those 20 shirts.
Yeah, exactly. You should be selling winkle pickers. So, I still have that kind of feeling of guilt about saying no.
Yeah. But it's you are also an incredible, like, you've won all these awards, you've published all these books. Like, it is something that you are really good at. And that's an incredible thing to have built this, like, ecosystem for yourself.
I guess.
That's okay. That's also how I take compliments. So fair enough. I also want to circle back to, like, I think one of the things that I know about your work is you also do a lot of stuff that is kind of donation based, like, supporting charities and things like that. I also think about like The Warrior's Guide to Life. I'm going to get it right one of these tries. But it's like, I think that's also a book that is very much kind of in a joking way, but also directly about like mental health and, helping people. Like, are those two things kind of coming out of the same place? Yeah.
I mean, it's not completely altruistic because a lot of the Warrior's Guide to Life and the work that I do about anxiety and depression is just my way of dealing with it and processing it. So I'm going to be making the work whether it goes out into the world or not. But if it can help people in some way, then that's a great side effect. I've just finished working on a graphic memoir about anxiety, which will come out next year. Yeah. And that one is it's very personal, much more memoir based. Hopefully still a little funny as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a book that I made because I wished that I had that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I find that I love reading any kind of book. I love comics, but I also love novels and fiction. And I love nonfiction, but I find that some things are just really hard to explain in words. And the combination of words and images in comics and graphic work is just my favorite thing. I think it's a really great way of getting messages across.
Yeah, and especially messages that I think are a little easier to like accept. You know, it can be really hard to read a self-help book because they have the tone of a self-help book.
Right, exactly.
You know?
And yeah, it's just very hard to describe certain things in words, especially if it's coming from like a therapy speak kind of direction.
Yeah. I think your illustration style, I mean, to like put it in the Scott McCloud terms, it's very identifiable. Like it's I think it's easy to personify yourself in the characters that you're drawing, including the pugs, but, you know, especially like yourself, who's often like a part of this. And I think like that is something that is... It makes it a lot easier to accept, like, you know, kind of you dealing with like heavier subject matter. Like when there is this humorous tone to it, it feels like it is laughing at the problem rather than letting the problem be the center of attention.
Yeah. And I always want to, you know, it's kind of a matter of if you don't laugh, you'll cry kind of thing. But it's always personal. Like I never would want to speak for someone else's experience or, you know, punch down.
Yeah.
It's always coming from my own personal experience. And I've become more and more honest about it as time goes on. Now, I to begin with, I was like, oh, no, I don't know if I should share this stuff. But now I'm just like, I don't care. I'll say anything.
Yeah, I mean, once you've kind of opened the floodgates, it's a different sort of thing. But I think it's also like it is the same influence that like this show comes from of like, you know, if you have those kinds of feelings, and I think often with folks it's imposter syndrome or something like that, being able to laugh about it is the best way to really show it who's boss.
Yeah, it is,
you know?
For sure.
A very strange and counterintuitive thing in so many ways, but it's like it is empowering. That sounds like an incredible book that you're working on.
I hope so. Yeah, it's long. It's very long.
Is it going to be your longest book, do you think?
Yeah. It's unedited right now, but it's probably about 400 pages.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That is a big one.
Yeah. I mean, it's my life from childhood to now. So a lot of stuff happened. I think I talk about winkle pickers at one point.
Go back for the winkle picker content that we all crave. To kind of close things out, like, is there anything else that you would want to share about maybe other mistakes that you can think of from your years, like, coming up?
Well, there's the saying no thing, obviously. There's just general imposter syndrome, which is also conversely made me not take on work that I should have, but I didn't think that I was good enough. I didn't apply for things like grants and residencies because I didn't think I was good enough. I mean, I didn't go to art school in the first place, partly because I didn't think I was good enough. Yeah. It's a very like back and forth thing that I still have where it's like academia, but art, and I still have it ingrained in me that they're separate things, but they're not at all. And yeah, so I've kind of been my own worst enemy a lot of times of just getting in my own way and overthinking stuff so much.
Well, I completely understand that, but it's a weird thing of the sometimes gatekeepy notions of, I think, both the academic space and the, you know, art space. But I don't know. I mean, that also like raises the question to me of like teaching was kind of one of the parts of the early part of your journey. Like, do you ever see yourself wanting to teach again? Like,
yeah, I think I would like to at some point. My teaching experience is all with little kids though, so I think it'd be very different to teach in kind of higher education.
Honestly, you would have more education than we get, so you're probably better suited for it than we are.
I think I would like to do it. I'm also really interested in art therapy.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I think that's potentially something I'd like to do. There's so many things I'd like to do and don't have time right now, but that's the thing about art as a career. You don't really know what's going to happen next. Like AI is going to take all of our jobs soon anyway, so...
Well, I think that so much of your work is drawn by hand. I think that is something that AI is going to struggle to replicate.
So I've seen some of my pug art replicated quite badly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all progressing so quickly. You know, maybe by the time this comes out, they'll have perfected the the pug stuff.
Or maybe they'll have crushed humanity and we'll just sort of be a pile of bones and skulls
well, that's also...
that a Terminator foot steps on.
Yeah.
Really, I'm getting a lot of mileage out of that Terminator foot. Thank you, James Cameron.
Yeah.
You would think that I'd only seen the opening scene of Terminator 1 and 2 based on how much I talk about that. I promise I've seen the whole movie.
I've only seen the first one.
Oh, you should see the second one. I had only seen the first one for a long time, and I think I felt very confused about why people thought it was a good movie. Because it's cheaply made, that's for sure. Terminator 2 is really good, though, even though it does have a kid with attitude, I'm sure not unlike 90s Beano, that does grate on you a little bit over time.
Okay.
Teaching the Terminator robot wacky 90s catchphrases. Hasta la vista, baby. Imagine that era where that was an idea that a screenwriter with so much cocaine in their system had come up with. Gemma, if people want to find more about your work, where can they go to do it?
They can go to the internet where we all go every day.
Absolutely.
And I do have a website. If people still look at websites, it's everything is basically my full name, Gemma Correll, GEMMACORRELL. So website is .com, and then I'm at Gemma Correll everywhere else, Instagram, Facebook, etc.
Yeah, and your website is a great place to connect with your shop where you can get copies of your books and merch and all kinds of other stuff.
Yep, and I work with a Portland-based company too called Badge Bomb to license my work.
Yes,
so
yes.
there's a little local connection for you.
Yeah, I had not realized that you were doing stickers and stuff through Badge Bomb, but I just drove by there the other day. They have a very big warehouse.
They do, yeah. I haven't been there in a little while, but yes, they do. They make a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all made in-house as well, which is really cool. Made in America. Which has taken a different tone on now,
has.
But it's still a good thing.
Look, in a weird way, I long for the days where that was sort of a punchline and not a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here, Gemma.
Thank you.
I hope you don't get railroaded into going to a parade on your way back.
I think I have no choice.
I hope you brought a lawn chair. But thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And also, hey, thank you out there, everybody who is listening. This is our season 7 premiere. So if you enjoyed this one, good news. There's going to be a whole lot more good stuff coming at you this way on this feed for the next 16 weeks. Although every other week, because that's how this one works. I'm over explaining it now. Don't worry about it. If this is your first time listening, be sure to subscribe wherever you found the show or visit dididothat.design, our wonderful website where you can find out where you can do that. If you've got a moment, please, do me a favor for this premiere. Rate, review, share this show. If you really want to help out, written ratings are super great. Apple Podcasts, a great place to do them, whether you use that service or not. But hey, like I said, telling a friend, that's even better because friendship is magic, as the My Little Pony franchise has taught me. Anyway, this has been Did I Do That? I'm Sean Schumacher, and as we always say at the close of every episode,
bye.
That's what we always say. Bye. Breathing exercise. Stretch out the brain. Actually, don't stretch out the brain. I think that's bad for the brain. I think it sort of needs to be in the shape that it's in.
Yeah, I think it was made that way for a reason.
Sort of an inflexible case suggests that maybe it's not meant to be changing shape all the time.
Probably not.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of childhood PSAs that need to be rewritten then.
Yeah.
About stretching your brain and stuff like that. Grow your brain. It shouldn't be any bigger either.
No, you don't want
No, that's
grow it. That's,
we
dangerous.
need to get a doctor that's willing to do trepanning in here, and I don't trust any of those folks right now. Doesn't seem like a good vibe.